to take you first to New York. And let me just speak to the people of New York. And I want to say this as kindly and gently as I possibly can. What the hell is wrong with you? Run for your stinking life. You have a dictator as your mayor. There is no two ways about this. This guy has said in the past that we just can't, this is a quote, we just can't have people walking around thinking they can go anywhere they want to in New York. That was his quote that he was defending the use of cameras on the streets because he wanted to be able to monitor where everyone was going because, quote, you just can't have everybody thinking they can go anywhere in New York City. I've never heard anything like that. We're talking public streets. What do you mean? I have the right to go anywhere in the public streets. That was one of our early warning signs. Of course, the first warning sign on Bloomberg, I think, was smoking. He did the anti-smoking thing, and everybody at the time was going back and forth on, it's a slippery slope. You can't do it.
Oh, stop with your conservative slippery slope. So there's a slippery slope. What's gonna come up next?
Well, he's shown us. Spectacular fashion.
Yeah, I believe the next thing, and Pat didn't even know this. Go to New York City and go and sit down. They will not bring you a glass of water. And Pat didn't know.
No, I didn't. I didn't know that was an edict from him. But every time you go to a restaurant in New York, you just sit there. You're waiting for your water, and it doesn't come. And then you're like, could I have a glass of water, please?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking that. Now I'm following the law. Bloomberg passed a law that said that you cannot serve water. You have to ask for water because it's wasting too much water. So I believe that was right after the smoking thing or right before. Then we had the calorie count on all of the menus because people were too stupid and they were ordering. And you know what the calorie count on the menus has done? People in New York actually eat more than they were with the calorie count. They just did I think they finished like a year-long study. And the calorie count on the menu, and I've done it. I've walked into McDonald's in New York City and I went, oh, really? That's only 3,000 calories? I'll have 2. Because you think it's so bad. And not like 3,000 calories is good. I know it's a full day's worth of calories. But you walk in and you're like, oh, I thought it was like 8,500. I'm still ahead if I have 2.
The other thing I've actually done this at a New York restaurant. I'll look at a couple of things and I'll be choosing between the two and I'll think, oh, that one's a lot more calories. That must taste better. I'll go with that. I've done that.
Have you really?
I have actually done that.
So I don't know.
Sad as that is.
I don't know if people are eating more at these restaurants with the calorie count because of Pat's or mine or a combination of 2. I don't know. But people are actually eating more. So that one didn't work. Before the calorie count, actually, I think he banned the trans fats.
Yeah, the trans fat ban was early on.
You couldn't have that. Then it was salt.
Yeah, he didn't actually get that through, but they tried.
Then you have the you can't serve the homeless in the parks.
Oh, yeah.
You can't give them any food. Now he's just come up with 1, 2, 3, 4 new things that they're going to do.
Oh, okay. So you can still do some things in New York.
You can. Right. They're going to double their recycling.
Nice.
So everything that they got going on now with all the recycling programs, they're going to double that. And by the way, that's not a goal. That's a mandate. We will double our recycling. And so one of the things they're going to do is they're now going to have you in your single family home in New York. They're going to have you recycle the food that you were throwing away. So you know how you take food and you scrape it off your plate and you throw it in the garbage? Now you get 3 garbage cans in New York. So you get one for the regular garbage, then you get one for the plastics, and now you get a super garbage can that is just for the food. And so what they're going to have you do now is they're going to they're going to take all that food and then they're going to put that food in the parks. Now, I don't think it's for the homeless. I think it's for a compost heap. So now we're composting in New York City. There's the first step.
Imagine the cost of that.
No, he says they're going to save money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're going to save money.
Sure they are.
Then he is banning all styrofoam. Because we don't need it. That's a quote. Because we don't need it. The next thing he's going to do is he's going to make New York friendly for electric cars. And what he's going to do now is he's going to put in charging stations all over Manhattan. Now, I have to tell you something. If you've ever tried to get gas in Manhattan, it's
almost impossible.
It's almost impossible. There's like 4 gas stations in Manhattan. The gas is only about, I don't know, $18 a gallon. But just because of the taxes, and those people who have cars in New York, they know better. They shouldn't have cars.
Shouldn't be driving in New York.
Shouldn't be driving anyway. And so you can't find a gas station. Now what he's going to do is he's going to put charging stations. So he's taking more parking away in New York City. And it'll be charging stations only for, all those people with plug-in cars. Those, like what's his name? That has a plug-in car. And what's her? She has one too.
There's almost
there's like
more than
I don't have
none.
any. I don't know anybody who has one, but they're going to.
No
these fictitious people are going to be able to plug in their electric cars in Manhattan.
Well, how many volts have they sold nationwide since this thing rolled out?
Are you counting to the government?
No.
Okay.
If you don't,
if you
don't include the government,
okay. And are you counting GE?
No.
Okay, 4.
Yes, that's about right.
Yeah,
that's about right.
So, and you know why he's doing this? You know why he's doing the electric car?
Why?
Can you put this one together? It has nothing to do with the environment. It has everything to do with a plan that the people of New York rejected, and it pissed him off. You remember this?
Really? I don't.
Oh, yeah.
I don't.
Why did they take Broadway, which is Broadway goes through Times Square.
Okay.
Broadway is a main thoroughfare, goes the entire, from Uptown all the way to Wall Street.
Right.
Okay. Huge street. If you drive on Broadway now, they've taken a lane and a half and they've made it a bike path in one of the busiest, and it is the cross section in Times Square. It is the busiest intersection in all of Manhattan. And he took a lane and a half away, and at some point he took 3 lanes away in Times Square for a bike path and a little park right in the middle of the busiest street.
Yeah, the walking plaza.
Yeah. Okay. Now, why did he do that?
He wants to get rid of the cars in Manhattan.
He said that he was going to take several lanes and he wanted to make them into parks. So there would be linear parks and they would only be available for bikes because he wanted New York to be more like Paris. The people rejected him. He did this whole thing. People rejected him and said, "You're out of your mind, man. No, we don't want that.
Traffic's bad enough as it is."
Right. No. And his response was, "Well, stop driving cars and get a bike." Well, no, I don't want a bike, Mr. Bloomberg. Okay, I'm going from one meeting to another. I'm going all the way across town. I've got to meet friends. I've got to do things. A bike is really not convenient for my life in a suit.
He doesn't care.
He doesn't care. And so what he said, when they rejected him, he got pissed off. And he announced that he was just going to put some new bike paths. He's not going to close down these streets. He's just going to put new bike paths in them. So he started on the process and made traffic even worse in Manhattan. Mm-hmm. And he did it after the people rejected. The guy is a dictator. And remember, it was against the law for him to run a second term. He's the guy, right after 9/11, Rudy Giuliani said, "I can stay for a couple of months and we can make this transition easier because Manhattan is completely on fire. And if you'd like, let's transition and, maybe I'm in for an extra couple of months to help you." And he said, "No, nobody is so important that they're irreplaceable." That's ridiculous. He was offended by it. He gave a big speech about it and how no one is too important. We don't change the law for people. And then when he wanted to run a second term, a third term, he changed the law, was elected, and then changed it back so nobody else could do it.
Right.
The guy I think he's worse than the president.
And watch him change it back again so he can run for a fourth term.
He will. And you know what? The dummies in New York will do it.
They will.
They'll take it.
They probably will.
I don't think there's any probably about it. I don't know what's happened to us. I was talking to Jim Rogers, who was on the show a couple of days ago. And
he's scarier than you are.
He is, because he knows.
Yeah.
He knows. You're like, with me, you're like, well, he's using his gut.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Jim Rogers knows what he's talking about. The guy was an early partner of George Soros.
Yeah. And
he knows who George Soros is. He knows the whole thing. And so he absolutely knows. And he is so frightening. And I said to him, but there is a chance here, Jim. We can turn it around. He said, what are you talking about? And I said, well, we can still change the course. And he said, Glenn, 49 to 52% of the American people are now on welfare of some sort from the state. You're never going to turn that around. And I said, I think I think we can make a case for people to work hard. I think we can make a case. He said, no, you're not. No, you're not. You won't make a case.
Can you imagine Glenn Beck being Mr. Sunshine in any conversation? That's amazing.
I tried.
That's amazing.
I tried.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if he's right or not. I don't understand people who don't want to chart their own course. I really don't. And, I have no problem. You don't want to chart your own course? Don't chart your... That's why I don't live in New York. Because you believe that you need somebody like Michael Bloomberg to babysit you the whole time. And it's why I moved to Texas. Because I know that Rick Perry understands that you just got to keep the people out of your way. Just keep the people out of your way. Let the people do what they do. And just keep the people from Washington out of your way. So you can grow and you can move forward. I mean, I know I said this about 3 years ago. I have no ill will to anybody who wants to be enslaved by a government. It's just socialism is not my religion. The government is not my church, and Obama is not my God, and that cost me $20, and Obama is not my God.
That just cost you $40.
And Obama is not my God.
Wow. That cost you $60.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
All
you
right.
want to say it? It feels good.
No, I don't. I'm already into this for $300. No,
I'm into it over $500 now.
Way over now.
Yeah, now I might be into $600. But I mean, we have to say that out loud. Mm-hmm. That's not my religion. That's not my church, and he's not my God. Why are we worshiping these people? Why are we bowing down to these people? Why are we allowing them to control every single aspect of our life? They do it because they say they know better than us.
Yeah.
They don't know any better than... Really? Really? You know better? Why don't you mind your own business? Oh, man, well, maybe that's where we went wrong when we took that off of our money. Everybody's upset that, people, we're going to take on In God We Trust off our money. You know what? We should put it back on our money, what was originally on our money. Mind your business. If we just lived that one simple rule, mind your business, we'd be a lot better off today.